welcome to the webinar. So today we've got a webinar about boosting your revenue through communication. So I'm Josh Rimmington, and I'm actually joined by Stephen Douglas from Boutique Whitening and Warren Yap, the National Business Manager of Core Practice. This webinar is put on through Core Practice, so thanks to Core Practice for that. So I'm going to actually be speaking first and talking a bit about the marketing side of it and the communication side of it. So what I'm actually going to do first is actually share with you a bit of data from a recent survey about dental patients and how they like to be communicated with. So I'll go to my slides. So here's a few data. I'm just going to share with you the key points. So this was a survey done by Hot Docs recently, where they surveyed patients to ask them about their experiences with dentists and how they actually like to be communicated and how they prefer to be communicated with. So 1 in 2 Australians are actually checking Google reviews before picking a new dental practice. So it's becoming more and more important that you're actually putting out your best foot forward at all times when you're actually doing stuff. So your Google reviews are becoming more important along with your website and anything else connected to it because people are actually checking on it. So Google is the most impactful with 30 to 44-year-olds. So, which is actually a bit surprising, but it's actually the age of the people that are actually grown up a bit more with Google and everything else. So for the last 10 to 15 years, it's what they've used rather than Yellow Pages or anything else. So they're actually the highest age group that is actually using it. And then it actually goes 45 to 59-year-olds and then 18 to 29s and then the 60 plus age. So a lot of people using Google to actually find out about their dentists and actually find out more information. So it's becoming more important to actually make sure that you're doing stuff on Google and that you're actually making sure you show up. These are the 3 most important things that people are actually looking for when they're deciding on a new dentist. So availability, cost, and location. And one of the big things that this tells me is that these are the 3 things that you need to focus on when you're actually doing your marketing and on your website, on your ads and everything else. So are you actually making sure that you're putting up if they can book online and if you've got available appointments? Are you actually talking about whether or not it's certain costs and giving them a broad idea if there's payment plans or different things that they can use? And location, this is a big thing that I notice on a lot of websites as well, is people not actually focusing on their address and everything else, because it's one of the first things a lot of people will be looking for is their actual location. So are you using Google Maps to easily show where you're located? Are you giving them an idea on whether or not they can book? So if your ads are actually talking about that you've got available appointments on certain times, it means that they're more likely to click on it, more likely to take action when they're deciding on a dentist. This one was an interesting one. 61% of Australians who have booked a dentist both online and by phone say that online is their preferred method. So they would actually prefer to book online if they can. And a lot more people need to have this function on their website, need to have the ability to be able to book online. A lot of people have the functionality, but don't actually make it easy for them to do, so that then they have to ring up and everything else. So are you actually making that functionality easy for people to actually take action? Do you actually have that call to action in all your ads, in all your Google ads, Facebook ads? Is it linked to your Google My Business profile? Is it linked to your Facebook? Do you have buttons on every page on your website so they can easily book online? So that people know they can, because 61% is a large percent of people that would prefer to be booking online rather than calling up or doing anything else. And I think that's the way with the last couple of years with COVID and everything else, people have started to get more used to using things online and do things through apps and things like that. So you need to be utilizing that to make sure that you are actually using it as much as possible. So here's a few different facts in here. So 2 in 3 Australians visit the dentist at least once per year. So that's a lot of people coming to the dentist every year. So you need to be making sure that they're coming to your practice, and you need to make sure that they're actually going to know. So are you communicating with them? Are you actually making sure that they remember that you're there? Are you actually marketing regularly so that they actually remember you and all that? Because if you're not marketing to them, someone else is. And if they see an ad for someone else with a good special or a new product or anything else, they're likely to take action with that person rather than going back to you. Because one of the big things that we've noticed as well, and actually came out in this survey, is that people aren't actually that loyal to a particular dentist. They can be loyal a lot of the times to a practice, and in rural areas, they're really loyal to a lot of dentists and practices. But in cities, they're not actually that loyal to a particular dentist. They don't mind changing dentists. So they're more likely to be marketed to and actually take action if they see something good. If they know that someone might have Invisalign or they might have a teeth whitening product that someone else doesn't have, they might take action with them and go over to them. So you're missing out on those opportunities. 9 out of 10 Australians want to receive an SMS reminder prior to their appointment. So are you using SMS? So it's one of those forgotten things that a lot of people aren't using as much. Email took over, and then all of a sudden people started using Facebook and everything else, and SMS slowly stopped getting used as much. But people want to be it. It's right on their phone. They need to be reminded. So they want to be reminded. 9 out of 10 Australians want to receive an SMS reminder prior to their appointment. This will actually increase a lot of your different things if you are actually doing this properly, because you'll make sure that you don't have those no-shows and things like that as well. And then this big one, 55% of Australians want to learn about additional services offered at the practice. So if you're actually reminding them to come in, if you're sending them a checkup reminder, are you actually telling them what other products? Are you telling them about boutique teeth whitening or anything else? So are you reminding them of the other services you are? Because the checkup might not be on the top of their mind, but all of a sudden, if you remind them that you actually do braces there, or you do teeth whitening or dental implants, all of a sudden, you might actually get them to come in for that checkup because they want to talk to the dentist about that. So take that opportunity to not only be reminding them to come in for a checkup, but actually educating them about your products and services so that you can actually get them in for some of those higher value services as well. So the big thing that I talk about, so I've been doing online marketing for 20 years now, and I've been working with dentists for over 10 years. So the biggest thing that I talk about all the time is keeping it simple. So many people I've seen come into the industry and all that, and they try and overcomplicate the process. They'll actually try and confuse a lot of the dentists with some of their long funnels and different stuff to try and sell them on a big new service or anything else. But what I find always works is keeping it simple. So what I'm going to give you here is a simple way to actually create a marketing campaign and communicate your message, no matter what the product or service is, to your patients, that will continue to work. No matter what platform you're using on, this will continue to work. So basically what I do, first we identify the problem. So any type of marketing is working out what the problem is. So what problem does someone have that you can solve with the service you offer? So if it's teeth whitening, the problem is obviously that their teeth are yellow or anything else. So we might be identifying the problem is that they've been to lots of Christmas parties and they've got red wine stains on their teeth and everything like that. So that's the problem. Next, we're looking for what audience has that problem. So who is your ideal customer that actually has this problem? Because what this does is, in all our marketing and communication, we can be talking directly to that audience. We can have images that actually talk directly to that audience. We can have pictures that talk to that audience. So if we say, okay, our audience are women between the ages of 30 and 40, we can have the type of talking, the type of communication, the type of images, all based around talking to that audience. The solution, this is the product or service you offer. So if we're doing it for teeth whitening, that's the teeth whitening product. So we're offering this as the solution to their problem, because all marketing is solving someone's problem. And by identifying it with them, all of a sudden they've gone, oh yeah, I need to get that done. And what you've done is you've given them the solution to the problem. So you've said, here's our product. This is the solution to the problem. And then we talk about the benefits, because people will go, oh yeah, you're just trying to sell us. If you've got a solution, you're just trying to sell us something. So the benefits will talk about why they should use the product. So that could almost talk about, okay, so-and-so had this problem, we solved it for them. Or it could be, okay, this is the best product on the market. It has been proven by these many people. So you're talking about any of the benefits or unique selling positions or anything that basically sells that product to the person and shows the benefits, shows why it solves the problem and basically why it is the solution to their problem. And call to action. So the biggest thing I notice in any marketing, any emails, posting or anything, people forget to put a call to action. So they talk about the products or that they've got something, but they don't tell you what the next step is. Anytime you're doing, whether or not it's an email, a message or anything else, you need to give someone the next step that they need to take. So how do they take action? So how do they book in for an appointment? How do they do that? So you have to give them the next step. That's part of keeping it simple. So you need to actually say, okay, this is what you have to do to take action. You can't just say, here's our product, that we basically buy it, because they need to know how they do it and why they should do it. So my talk's been pretty quick, but for anyone that actually wants a free website audit and everything else, I'll throw the link at the end as well. But if you want to grab your phone or anything else and grab that QR code, I'll do an audit of your website. We're also giving $5 for every website audit we're doing in this Christmas period to Beyond Blue, who have also donated some more extra cash. It's a mental health charity that is close to our hearts. So we're doing that as part of our promotion on JR Marketing Group at the moment. So if anyone else wants to do it, grab that QR code. That'll take you to a simple page that basically you can put your details in, and once you fill it out, it'll come via email to us. And then I'm going to just do all the video, and it'll be a video review. So I'll basically sit there and I'll go over your website. I'll identify any things that you could be doing to basically help you convert more. I'll also do an SEO audit. So I'll show you why your website might not be ranking, what things you can actually do in Google to actually help it rank more. And anything else that we notice along the way. So thanks everyone for listening to my part. We'll be doing some Q&A at the end after the Stephen and Warren talk, but thanks for listening to me. Over to you, Warren. I'll let you share your screen. Are you
awesome?
You right? You. I'll stop my share. Are you right sharing?
Yeah. Oh, yep, I can share now.
Yep.
There we go. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep, we've got it.
All right. Perfect. Thank you so much for that, Josh. Mate, I swear we got the stats from the same place, because I was also having a look at hot docs, and the stats there, it's I think it's pretty crazy, right? Like, especially when we go through it. And one of the ones that I saw that on there that was pretty it really stood out to me was that patients are 67% more likely to make a booking with that dental practice if you have a good like a high amount of ratings, as well as a lot of ratings. And I think that, that fits in with everybody as well. You're going to go out, have dinner and all that kind of stuff. You're not going to waste your time with a 3-star restaurant or something like that, right? I think everybody feels the same way about a dentist as well. You want to go to the best, and you don't want to waste your time. You don't want to waste your money. So I totally agree that Google reviews is one of the best ways that you can boost not only just the brand image of your company or your clinic, but to also boost your revenue as well. And I'll share with you a couple of different ways that we're helping our customers to increase their Google reviews. So that's the first point for today. And the second one is, and there's only 2 for today, it's how our other clinics are also utilizing our marketing tools in order to, get some of the low-hanging fruit. So I'll be showing you some whitening campaigns, implant campaigns, or even trying to find all those canceled appointments in core practice. I'll be showing you all of that today. So let's take you through the first point, and about Google reviews. So in core practice, there are 2 ways at the moment that we can help you to facilitate those Google reviews. So as an example, one of the best ways that we see is that you can send out an SMS straight away to the patient after they finish their appointment with you, just to send it straight to their phone, so they can just click on the link and it'll go straight away to your Google review. So as an example of that, I can just go into Core Practice here. I can go to my SMS chat, so you can see I'm working with Bruce Wayne here. I can go to SMS chat, and then I can go click on the Google review form template that we've got in here, and that will send it straight away to the patient. That's one way. And then the second way is we've also got an automated system in the background of Core Practice. So whenever you create an appointment, whenever you reschedule, and also when you complete an appointment, they will be sent an email. You can choose to not automate it. You can also do things like this. So say, for example, if I try to check out Bruce Wayne here, I check him out this way, you can see you have a prompt in there. So that prompt will allow you to choose to send out these Google review forms to specific patients and not send it to some of them, perhaps. So yeah, you can choose to send it out if you like, or if you prefer to completely automate it, then away you go. Okay, so I can send that to myself as well. So you've got those two. Now, some interesting stats that we've seen as well is that when the patient finishes their billing and you book their next appointment, the patient is actually 80% more likely to complete that Google review form. Otherwise, when they leave the practice, it goes down to about 10%. So it's really quite paramount, especially for any new clinics or even existing clinics, to just change the wording of how you depart ways with the patient. So instead of giving them kind of like a way out to say, hey, do you mind if I send you a Google review link? Just say like, look, I'm going to send you a Google review link. It's going to take you 2 minutes to fill out. Can you please fill it out if you can? So very different approach on how you, have a chat with the patient about it. And what we're seeing is it's actually having a huge impact for a lot of our clients. So I'll give you one example, and that's Dentist and Annalie. They only opened up shop maybe about 4 or 5 months ago. And you can see at the moment, they've got 210 reviews. And they're all 5 stars. So they're doing amazingly well. And some of the things you can see on here is that they are actually responding to all of these reviews, whether they be a 5-star review, 3-star, 4-star, whatever it is. You can see they're always responding back. So showing that you've got this digital presence, after Josh has shown us a lot of those stats as well, completely agree with it. There are so many things that I think that goes through our minds. It just like liking something or reviewing something. We look at all of that first before we set foot anywhere. And it is becoming a lot bigger for anybody else who's in the metro cities as well. It's all running off through digital. I think if you're really not on Google at the moment, you're doing your Google My Business or going through these Google reviews, you're really not setting yourself apart from everybody else, especially with all these new families moving around, moving to different places, suburbs and all that. It's impeccable. And I mean, sorry, it's so paramount to the health of your business to be able to keep this going. So, you've got some great tools in Core Practice that will help you to do that. So one is being the SMS chat, the automated emails that come through Core Practice. And then the final piece of the puzzle, especially when all of these patients are coming in, is actually our online booking. So, that goes straight onto your website. You can use various parts of it to communicate with your patient. So, you can tell them, about the things that you're doing in the practice, or if you don't have any availabilities, to give them a call or something like that. And it's all completely customizable. It goes straight onto your website. You can customize the colors, like a notice board. You can even put a questionnaire triage on there as well. So in case, if another thing like COVID comes around, like Omicron or whatever, and it starts to take hold, you can put questionnaires on there so that it can also automatically reject patients. And some of the cool stats we've seen with some of our clients, especially with somebody like No Gaps Dental, they're getting 35% of their bookings coming from online booking. And they have about 15 practices with us. So you can imagine just the amount of throughput that that's coming through these online bookings for them, coupled with, of course, some of the great services that you can hear out there. So things like SEO. So if you're interested with SEO, obviously talk to Josh about that. I'm sure he'll be able to help you to increase the traffic to your website and all. So obviously, if you're increasing that website traffic, you need ways to convert them. So one of the best ways is obviously online booking. And obviously, you heard it from Josh as well. There's 61% prefer to book online compared to just rocking up or giving somebody a call. All right. So now I'm going to take you to the second part of my presentation, and that's utilizing our marketing to really hone in on, the low-hanging fruit that's in the practice, or things like, doing your recalls and all that kind of stuff. But let's face it, Recalls are extremely boring now. Everybody else is doing recalls. You hear from your dentist twice a year. But honestly, you're looking at a lot more marketing every single day. You're seeing hundreds of billboards, or you're seeing Facebook ads being thrown at you, Google ads. There's ads everywhere at the moment. So it's even harder for somebody like a dentist to stand out. Whereas, all the time when they reach out to me, it's just a checkup, scale and clean. It's never about anything else. And like Josh mentioned before as well, they're 55% of the patients, or your clinics, or your clients do want to hear about your other services, but they just don't hear from you apart from just doing the recalls. So some of the things that our clinics are doing is that they're doing more than just the recalls. Every month they're doing a newsletter. So they're sending it out to all their patients, keeping them in touch with them. It can be about anything. It doesn't have to be something serious. It doesn't have to be about a call to action sometimes. It could also just be hey, just letting you know that we're during this COVID time, we're obviously taking, a lot of precautions to keep you guys safe and all that kind of stuff. You can use it for a whole bunch of things. But then, obviously, this presentation is about boosting your revenue and all that, right? So as an example in my campaigns here, you can see there's a whole bunch of different types of campaigns. So more than just recalls, you're going to see some great examples that our clients are using. So things like, say, for example, you want to target all your Bupa members, you can target all of them, or just all the people with the health fund. So you can say, by the end of the year, some of the things that a lot of our clinics are doing right now is they're just trying to send out an email or an SMS to all of their patients that have a health fund, to tell them that, if you don't utilize your health fund and all that kind of stuff before the end of the year, it's just going to reset for the next year. And especially if you're not booked out for the whole year, especially for the end part of this year, probably a good opportunity for you to start thinking about it, or at least actioning it in the next couple of days if you haven't already. So that's one great one. The second one is we've also got a cancellation list in here, so you can target heaps of different types of things. So if they didn't attend, they FTA'd, or they just canceled. You can even just capture the people that are new patients as well. So those are your biggest ones, like especially if they were new, they booked an appointment, they canceled, but they did not come back. You can definitely capture all of that. So you can see in here, I can capture everybody else. Now, another thing on here, especially with our campaigns, is our patient criteria. So this allows you to segment your data even further. So one, we can target health funds. We can target fee levels as well. So that's pretty similar. The third one on there is categories. So in core practice, you can tag all your patients with certain things. So say, for example, if they are Mandarin speakers or something like that. So we have a lot of the No Gaps guys doing that as well. So sending things out in Mandarin or in Vietnamese or something like that, especially if you're in a community with lots of different types of languages. I've seen people do it in Greek as well. So, if you really wanted to do something like that, you can tag your patients with those tags and then start to market to them specifically. Otherwise, I've seen a lot of other things like this. Like I was talking to somebody in Tamworth. They could tag their patients as being closer to the town center, and those are the ones that are, very far away. So you can do it based on that as well. So you can have a think about how this may suit you and your business. I think most clinics are going to be able to segment their patients in a variety of ways. So perhaps this might help you out to data mine that even further. Then, as an example, we can also do age range. So one thing that you'll see with a lot of marketing, especially for myself, I get a heap of emails from people with a lot of different types of offers. One of the things that always stands out to me, and I'm sure you'll feel the same way, is that when you see somebody on that marketing piece and, they're the same age as you or the same gender as you or something like that, you just relate to them a little bit easier or a little bit better. So if you're getting very advanced with this, and you know that you've got a lot of different types of segments of ages in your clinic, if you're not just dealing with the oldies or whatever it is, you can target certain people, right? So say, for example, and I'm not going to say all the brackets, don't want to offend anybody, but yeah, you can choose those brackets. So and just target them and send something out with, somebody that's relevant to their age range. So as another example of some other campaigns in here, we can even do implant campaigns. So this is getting a lot more specific. So implant campaigns, Invisalign, that's getting a little bit more specific. So as an example, if I go into an implant campaign, you're going to see that I'm targeting procedures now. So as an example in here, we can target everybody in your database that has done an extraction. And if they've done an extraction and if they haven't already booked in for an implant, that you can see here, I've excluded them from the list if they've already booked it in. then let's send them an implant special. So as an example, 10% off, just book in a consultation, which is completely free. And you'll get 10% off your whole treatment with this clinic. That's one of the things you can do there. Another one is you can also be proactive in core practice as well. And we're seeing this with some of our top-notch clinics who are getting, who are utilizing about 95 or 90% of their appointment books are doing these sort of things. So one of the things they're doing is, and especially with Whitening, as we move over to Stephen in a moment, the Whitening campaign. So with the Whitening campaigns in here, we could put tags on patients' accounts to say, for example, if they've got discolored teeth or yellow teeth or something like that, and then we'd be able to pull up a whole list of everybody who's got the similar thing and send them out their marketing. So when we're marketing out to these guys, we're being very subtle about it. We're not saying, hey, we know you've got yellow teeth or it's discolored or whatever it is. It's more so, hey, do you have discolored teeth? Are you thinking about going with teeth whitening? Have you ever considered it? Why don't you visit our website or whatever it is, and you'll be able to see it. So as an example in here, I'm just going to run this campaign here for you today, and then I'll choose a period so I can target everybody from a certain period if you like. So I'm just going to choose everybody from this year. I'll go next. And then you can see the list of patients on here. I'll just create the batch, and I'll go to my long list of patients in here. And then I can start to see what sort of information I've got about them. So one is you'll be able to see if they've got a next appointment coming up. So if they've got another one coming up, maybe you can just remove them from the list. You'll be able to see if they have any emails as well as any mobile phone numbers on there. And then all I need to do to send this all out through email or through SMS, you've got two choices. So you send out an email. So here's an example of an email. We've got our logo at the top, and it just says, hi, patient first name, looking for a wider smile. Have a look at one of our patients who came in for a whitening session recently using our boutique whitening kit. So you've got like a before and after picture, and then obviously you've got something to finish it off. And one thing that we love to use is something so simple as a button on your email. That button takes you directly to your online booking. As an example, so I'll just quickly get out of this so you can see it. Whitening special. So something like this takes you directly to your online booking. How easy is that? Something so simple for you guys to just put into your own systems. Just putting a button in there to just close off the loop, that call to action. And yeah, there's so many other things you can do with this. But I think it's more so that practices are so ingrained with just the recalls. It's a lot more than just recalls these days. You have to be marketing all these great services that you've got in order to stay on top of the competition that's coming in, and being able to just tell people about the great stuff that you're doing and showcasing all those lovely cases that you've got. But yeah, look, that wraps it up for me. Thank you so much for listening in. I hope you can take away a few things from the Google reviews, especially with our marketing as well, and how that can impact you and your business. And if you're interested in finding out more and having a demo with me, would love to have you on our website here where you can request the demo for today. And then we'll be in touch with you to organize that time with you just to show you all the other little bits and bobs. So if you're interested with online medical history forms or our latest integrations with SmileRide and MediPass, head over to the request a demo area on our core practice website, and I'm sure I'll see you guys soon. But thank you so much for that. I'll move you over to Stephen now. Thank you.
I'll just wait for you to hand it over to me. That's great. Fantastic. Just share my screen with you guys. Can everyone see that okay? Awesome. All right. Thank you. Brilliant. Thanks, Josh. Thanks, Ron. That was really good. I enjoyed that. What an evening. Got about 15 minutes to really get you all wound up a bit now. Boosting revenue through communication. What does it actually all mean? Just allow me, I heard a little bit mentioned about whitening today. Allow me to take you on a whitening journey, perhaps the lost soul of cosmetic dentistry in Australia. For those that stick around to the end, I'll show you something that you can do tomorrow in your practice, how you can increase your additional revenue by $92,400 a year per dentist. And it's very, very straightforward. Spare me a second. All right, so what's the Whitening Project? The Whitening Project is on a mission to give dentists and their teams the exact skills, techniques, and confidence to safely, I'll repeat that, safely whiten their patients' teeth more effectively with superior results to become the experts in their local area. of course, enjoying greater wealth without the fear of disappointed patients. So what I do is I have two sort of programs. We do a 15-minute discovery call. And as we go through these points now, I'm going to ask you to think about these, because what you've heard tonight is how you can target patients, how you give patients choices, how you can communicate with patients. Now, what's your total number of adult patients that you've got? Maybe between the ages of 17 and 55 would be an ideal whitening sort of age group. How many do a week currently? How many whitening treatments a week? Number of practices I talk to go, well, maybe one, Steve, maybe two. What's the price if you take home kit and trays? What's not working for you right now? And how is this impacting on your business? How much money are you leaving on the treatment table? And I share some stats that will frighten you. How is this impacting your patients? How is it impacting your patients? And where would you want to be a year from now with whitening? And what we do is we follow this up with a training program which takes 60 minutes. So in Australia, I visited 400 dental practices pre-COVID, obviously, and undertook over 2,000 interviews with principal dentists. And I would always say to myself, what are you doing with whitening, guys? What's the situation? And if I had to summarize probably 20 or 30 different points, these would be the top 5 reasons why dentists are reluctant to offer whitening to their patients. Number one, especially principal dentists, don't believe that teeth whitening can be profitable. And yet, the successful practices I work with enjoy over $450 an hour of gross profit. How would you like that? Whilst it's no one's fault, it's not taught, it's not clinical, it's not part of your degree. So therefore, it's unfortunate, but you don't know a lot about the products in the marketplace. And if you don't know about the products and how they work, how can you actually target specific tooth stains with the right whitening gel strength, and importantly, for how long? And we dive deeply into this during the training program. And if you can't do that, how can you ensure patient compliance to guarantee fantastic results? Because you know what your patients are like. They see the magazine articles out there and they go, well, I want veneer-shaped white teeth. They want B1. It's about being able to meet your patients' expectations who just want amazing results. So what we have in the training program, I'm going to walk you through this. I'm not going to show it all. I'm going to walk you through this. This is what is available. It's about understanding your teeth whitening marketplace in your local area. And that's not other dentists. Okay, they're there, but it's not other dentists. Your patients can go to salons, to spas, to hairdressers, to online pharmacies, to Coles, to Woolworths. That's your competition. Okay, and then we dive into how you can avoid the 5 biggest teeth whitening myths, and I would say in brackets mistakes, that I found visiting all these dental practices in Australia. And by understanding those, we can then learn how to rebuild these false beliefs, okay, and how you can successfully treat tooth stains. And the last 2 modules that fall in line with tonight are really about the dental team and how to make more profit from whitening. That's how to identify patients who are considering whitening their teeth, okay, and then how to convert them, or how to increase your case acceptance rate and get them actually into being a paying customer without feeling like a salesperson. And right at the end, I'll share with you a really good way of doing that. And then the last module is how you can build what I class as an army of referring fans who will talk about your practice in the local area. So there's 5 simple steps, okay? Clinical, we show you how to whiten teeth the correct way. And the problem with whitening is it is not an exact science. It's not an exact science. It's probably one of the most cosmetically researched treatment plans going, but it's not an exact science, okay? Patients they think that's what they can get. They can't always achieve that. We then look at your patient analysis, and the guys are showing some of the things that core practice can do with their software, and that's brilliant. I mean, that makes your life so much more easy to target a specific campaign age, targeting, let's say, females between the age of 30 and 44. Okay, it gets really drilling down into some really cool ways. It's specific to that age group. I'm also going to share with you how you can do it in the dental practice. Okay, you need a steady flow of patients. All right, 1 in 5 of your patients are going to whiten their teeth. It's just finding out who they are. It's about communication, okay? And then increasing that case acceptance rates. And the final part, it's got to be time efficient. It's 2 patients an hour. It's a 30-minute window, okay? That's all you need. Whitening. People say to me, Steve, the whitening market, yeah, it's not that big. And yet in 2020, in a COVID-ravaged year, there were over 1 million searches on Google for teeth whitening related phrases. 1 million searches in Australia. Patients want whiter teeth. And if you think about all the treatment plans you have available to all the wonderful things you can do, whitening is probably the lowest rung on the cost basis. You know, for a few $100s, generally you can change a patient's appearance, their confidence, and their self-esteem. Okay, and if it's driven by peer pressure, selfie phenomenon, Zoom meetings like this, and of course, you know, gorgeous-looking celebrities are thrown at you every day. So the demand in Australia is just growing, and it's never going to go backwards. Okay, but we have a major problem here, and I want to share this with you. And this is linked into a little bit of issues with the legislation here in Australia. With 1 in 5 patients or public choosing to whiten, okay, this information is available on the ADA website, less than half of those did so under the supervision of a dentist. Less than half. And 65% of those patients had no idea of the risks of home whitening, okay, or wasting their money on products that don't even work. This poor lass from Scotland, East Kilbride, true story. You can Google the Daily Record. She gets on Google and she searches for teeth whitening kits and buys a purchase of peroxide that she shouldn't have been using, either too strong or she hadn't had an oral health check. And she presented to the hospital like this: swollen lips and burnt gums. It is absolutely paramount that whitening becomes a core part, excuse the pun, of a treatment plans that you offer to patients. And patients can say no, and we don't mind that. Patients saying no is as good as a patient saying yes. Okay, so what happened here, the legislation, and this is quite important because Friday, August the 13th, what an auspicious day that was. So what happened was the ADA, the ACCC got together and decided that they needed to create a leverage for dental practices. So totally understand this. It's a good thing to do to a degree, because up until that date, what it meant was basically the public, your patients, could go to Coles or Woolworths or pharmacies or online Google, and they could purchase up to 6% hydrogen peroxide or up to 18% carbamide peroxide, exactly what you could do as a dental practice. So you know you had no leverage. And in Australia, manufacturers were knowingly breaking the legislation or the law, and they were selling to practices products that were not allowed to be sold for take home, and dental practices were unknowingly selling them to patients. It's probably about 50%. But this change in legislation on Friday the 13th, all they did was change the word up to over. So as a dental clinician, if you think it's in the best interest of your patients, then you can prescribe over 6% hydrogen peroxide and over 18% carbamide peroxide. Okay. My phone didn't stop ringing. Steve, that boutique you've got, can we get it in 9% hydrogen peroxide? And I go, well, why do you want to do that? And they go, well, we get better results. And I go, ooh, okay, not necessarily going to get better results, because if you look at all manufacturers, 9% can only be worn for 30 minutes. You can't wear it more because you'll get sensitivity. Okay, so it's time. So you'll be very mindful of the strength of bleach you give to patients. Just because it's got a bigger number on the side of the syringe does not mean it's going to get you better results, because the wear time comes all the way down. But now, if you think it's in the best interest of patients, you can prescribe over 6% hydrogen peroxide. Let's get into the fun stuff. All right, so if you think about your patients, you were thinking about it before, it was one of the first slides I put on. How many patients have you got? 2,000, 3,000, 5,000? Now, people buy in two ways. Some people buy on emotion, and some people buy on emotion, but they need logic to justify the purchase. Okay, so for example, you know, if I say to 100 females on a Saturday morning who've decided they want some earrings, they go out and shopping, and roughly 3 or 4%, that's how the Western world buy, will come back with earrings. If I said to 100 men, go buy some cufflinks, who decide they wanted some cufflinks to the shirt, roughly 3 or 4% will come back with some cufflinks. They're easy to find. You could put a core practice email campaign out. You could send out an offer. 3% generally who've decided they've got 2 stains will go, oh, I just need an offer. Okay, you've got one. It's like on a Friday night, you know, the people who've got stained teeth on a Friday night see an offer on their mobile phone from High Smile. Well, it's a great offer. I'll spend $80 and they buy it. It's just an offer because they've recognized they've got stained teeth. 17 to 20% of your patients who know they've got stained teeth, want to do something about it, but it's like an information gathering mode. What is it? Where do I go? How much does it cost? What are the results going to be like? How long is it going to take? So you've got to deliver that information to the patient. Okay. 20% of your patients are aware of their stained teeth, but yeah, whatever, not bothered about it. And then roughly about 50 to 60% of all dental practice patients are the worst patients in the world. They'll come in once a year for a checkup, or when they've got toothache, they'll give you a bell on the phone. How can you identify them? Well, whitening is not just beholden on the dentist. It's a team game. Okay, so whichever brand of bleach that you purchase, make sure you're advertising, subliminal advertising in the waiting room. Make sure you got your posters up. Make sure you got your leaflets out. Make sure you got your waiting room video on, so patients sat down bored can see what else, other choices of treatment plans you have. Put some ortho on, put some Invisalign on, do some perio treatments. Let them know what you can do. It's about communicating with them, because you've got to identify which patients are considering whitening their teeth. 1 in 5 are. 1 in 5 are. Okay, another great place for posters, back of toilet doors. You've also got to do it online. Again, through Core Practice, you can do that, and other practice management systems, you can do it. Okay, but here's the thing. Email, social media, pretty much free. We're not talking about spending money on Facebook ads, okay, or Google at the moment. We're just talking advertise to your own existing patients. Advertise your own existing patients. Make sure you get the treatment plans from those patients. And one of the really cool things is, like Warren went through, you can run a whitening special promotion. One thing I suggest is don't drop your price when you do promotion. Add something of value with it. So for example, let's say you do take-home teeth whitening at $3.99. Don't drop the price to $2.99. Offer something of value with it. So what the patient sees, they'll give me all this value and this price goes away in their mindset. You know, offer them a free assessment, offer them a free polish and scale, or whatever fits in the dynamics of your business model. Before you drop your price, always give value away first. And the one thing that I'm very, very keen on is that you have your features and you have your benefits and you come up with the solutions, but ultimately it's what is the result for the patient? What does the patient get? Does he get whiter teeth? Whiter teeth is not the result. The result of having their teeth whitened is they look more attractive, more confidence, more self-esteem. It's like, why do people get Botox and filler? Because they want to look more attractive. And the result of the result, if you think about it further down the line, is well, you might get a hot date, you might get married, you might get a better job, and you might get more money. They're the results. That's what patients are looking for. So I always suggest when you're putting your marketing campaigns out, whether it's social media or whether it's on through email, focus on the results. Gain more confidence in 14 days by whitening your teeth. Look more attractive in 2 weeks by whitening in the comfort and convenience of your own home for $3.99. Focus on the result first. All right, I'll share this with you. What I noticed talking to dental practices is that most practices have on their medical history form a little question. It says, are you happy with your smile? Do you like your smile? And patients, they go in the waiting room, they fill in the forms either online or they do it in the paper version. They get to, do I like my smile? It's all right. Here's a big tip. Do this tomorrow. You'll be staggered at the change what will happen. Take that question and put it into a new patient or a checkup consult. Bring it into a more meaningful discussion with the patient. They're a dental practice. Give them choices. Okay, now here's the way to do it. You just hand the mirror. Hey, Steve. Hey, Warren. Anything you like or dislike about your smile? Don't say anything. They'll say, no, it's fine, love it. Well, actually, they'll give you an answer. That's fantastic, Steve. Just as a matter of interest, to make sure we cover all bases with you and give you enough choices, how would you rate the shade of your teeth out of 10? And the big thing here is you're giving the patient a really big mirror. Okay. How would you rate the shade of your teeth out of 10? If there's something I could show you for a few $100s that would get you closer to a 10, what would that mean to you? Now, we'll just quickly break that down. How would you rate the shade? You've got to give these patients more information, more logic. How would you rate the shade of your teeth out of 10? The lower the number, okay? The bigger the pain is. The bigger the pain is, stained teeth, okay? If there's something I could show you for a few $100, qualifies the price. It's not thousands of dollars, qualifies the price. That would get you closer to a 10. Never say 10. Under promise, over deliver every time. One way you can do it, put a Vita shade guide just in front of the patient. This is, don't bother mentioning C3D4. They don't know anything about it. So, well, this is where you are, Steve. If there's something that'll get you closer to here, obviously B1, but, you know, what would that mean to you? And that question, what would that mean to you, focuses on the result. Because normally what happens is people will go, well, would you like to whiten your teeth? It's a yes or no answer. What would that mean to you? Well, hey, more attractive, more confidence, more self-esteem. That's what it means to me. One of two things will happen. Number one, the patient's going to go, well, no, it's all right, I'm happy, it's okay. And that's a great answer. No is a good answer, because they go into your 60% of patients who are not really too bothered about their smile. They probably come back in once a year for a checkup. Okay, but 1 in 5 are going to go, right, wow, well, what do you mean? Well, Steve, it's easy. With what we now know, you can whiten in the comfort and convenience of your own home. Take you a couple of weeks. What we can do, we'll get the nurse come out. We can take some quick impressions. I'll show you how to fill a whitening tray. That's it. 1 in 5 are going to whiten. It's incredible. What does that mean? 1 patient a day, 20 days a month, 240 patients a year. The average selling price in Australia is about $385, including trays for takeout. That's around about $92,400. And if you take off the average cost from most manufacturers, most labs, that's about $135 to $170. That's going to leave you with about 50 grand gross profit. And it helps you identify the patients who care about their smile and those that don't. And whitening is the first rung on a dental value ladder, because this is saying this patient cares about their smile. So maybe in the lifespan they have within a dental practice, when they get a little bit of lower crowding, do a bit of Invisalign, or they've got to rotate it in size, or they want some more contouring. Often you find out that patients who whiten when they're younger can end up with veneers when they're older, just by asking one 10-second question. That's all it takes, one 10-second question. The thing is, you need to stop leaving money on the treatment table, going to whiten their teeth. And also, importantly, you're protecting your patients. We don't want them going on and buying products they shouldn't be using, or going to salons or spas or hairdressers or supermarkets. They don't treatment plan. They don't look after oral health. They don't manage sensitivity as dental practices. You do. That's the value that you add as a practice to the patients, just by asking the patient a simple question. That's all it is. 2 ways you can do this with me. You can do a discovery call. It's free. Just hop on a Zoom meeting like this, or a telephone call. We'll go through some questions that we showed you at the start. Okay. Alternatively, you can sign up for the training program. Training program costs $37. We do a full 60-minute training. It actually runs over 60 minutes. A full 60-minute session. We dive so deeply into everything. We'll transform your dental practice. As part of that, we give you a boutique kit to try on a patient. Okay. We also give you access to Professor Van Hayward's evidence-based reports on home whitening. He's classed as the godfather of bleach, and it's the science this training program is actually underpinned on. And you get a copy to the training as well. So there's 2 ways you can get involved with myself to try and help you with the whitening business within your dental practice. Whitening is nice. It's not toothache or a root canal. Just ask your patients. Just ask your patients. Okay, that's me done. Hope it wasn't too long. I'll just get out of screen share. There we go.
Thanks for that, Stephen. So if anyone has any questions, you're welcome to chuck them in the chat now, or the question and answer section. But thank you so much for coming. So we'll leave it open for a few minutes for any questions, and then we'll shut it off. And we'll also put up the recording so that anyone wants to go back on there, we can do that as well. You can watch it again and everything else. But hopefully you've all got a little bit out of tonight as well. Alicia said thank you. Alicia, I did see your one come through, and I know your website's not live yet as well, but what I'll do is I'll keep an eye out for it and keep an eye out, and any information I can give you about the website to help you as you're getting set up and everything. I'll happy to send through some information and help you along the way while you're getting established. Awesome. Well, that seems to be about it. So we might call it a night. And thanks guys for joining us tonight.
Yep.
It's been great. Hope everyone has a great Christmas. I know everyone's starting to try and wind down a bit, but yeah, as a lot of us being business owners and everything else, it's very hard to to wind down. But yeah, I hope everyone has a good Christmas and everything else. And we'll hoping to do some of these in the new year as well, and do a few more longer ones and different ones over the time as well. So thanks everyone.
Thank you so
Cool.
much.
Thanks guys.
Have a good night.
Cheers everyone. Thanks very much for joining us. Cheers.
Bye.